I know you guys are used to seeing me flying Cessnas, but I got a treat for you guys today. I'm flying a Piper Warrior from KVNY to KLAS. That's Van Nuys, California to Las Vegas, Nevada. 93 Charlie was a nice airplane. Not bad for a Piper. It was a beautiful day for our VFR flight to Las Vegas, even though it was a little hazy. If you notice off in the distance, those mountains, they were ranging from 5,000 to 7,000 feet. Local pilots from the area advised me not to fly over them, but they showed me how to navigate through them. After takeoff, I would get in contact with SoCal Approach and then climb as much as I can as I headed towards Highway 14. Highway 14 is a highway that goes through the lowest points of the mountain that you can get to the other side, which will lead you to the city of Palmdale, which is southeast of the Palmdale Airport. Remaining southeast will keep you clear of the airspace and you just head east. Our cruising altitude to Las Vegas was 9,500 feet. I knew I would be clear of all of the mountains and terrain. By the time we reached our cruising altitude of 9,500 feet, we had a strong headwind to contend with. It had us doing an incredible 97 knots. Not fast at all. Our 205 nautical mile trip was going to take us 2.5 hours. You might be saying 2.5 hours? That's a lot. Especially when the airlines can get me there in 36 to 45 minutes the most. That might be true flight time, but the process, if you think about it, is longer. I bet you won't believe that I could probably get to Vegas before you can. And how is that possible? Here's how. If we both left the house at the same time, keep in mind, you will be leaving to get to the airport at least an hour to 2 hours ahead of your flight time. You have to check in, you have to clear TSA, you have to wait in the waiting area, you have to wait for your plane, you have to wait to board, you have to wait for everybody else to board, you have to take off and do your 45-minute flight, you have to land, and then you're going to take another 20-30 minutes to get off the plane, get your bags, and walk out the airport. In all that time, I could have traveled, landed, and came and met you in the terminal. Your flight time is shorter, but my process is shorter. I know we can argue the pros and cons of both processes all day, but the most important thing is that you get to your destination safely. But if you enjoy flying as much as I do, you don't mind the 2.5-hour flight, especially if you got views like this. Flying over the Mojave Desert, it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Coming from South Florida where everything is green, this was a big culture shock, big change. After flying in the desert for 2 hours, the sight of Las Vegas on the horizon was a welcome sight. That city is literally in the middle of the desert. The sun was setting so we could see the lights from out here. But as we got closer, it got even more beautiful. I've flown into Vegas as a passenger many times, but it's nothing like flying as pilot in command. It's harder to stay focused though looking at those pretty lights. But Las Vegas Approach and the tower were really accommodating. The only thing they asked was that I kept my speed up, which was no problem for me. If you're used to flying in South Florida where you're flying out of Opelika, Fort Lauderdale Executive, Boca Raton, Tamiami, Fort Lauderdale International, where you have jets breathing down your back all the time, it's not unusual to keep your speed up and land a little bit faster than normal. Knowing that I was coming in hot, I expected the Piper to take his time to float down the runway a little because we were coming in really fast. But this is where I noticed the difference between the Piper and the Cessna. The Piper seemed to take forever to slow down and come down, to the point of where the tower even cleared me to contact ground on the other side, and we hadn't even touched down yet. Finally, the Piper slowed down enough for the wheels to come down. At least I was clear to contact ground on the other side. I didn't have to worry about that now. Anytime the tower comes on and clears you to contact ground on the other side and your wheels haven't come down yet, it's a clear indication that your airspeed was off. You're floating down the runway, you're still flying. But don't stress that. Do what you have to do to get your airplane down safely, and if not, go around. Welcome to Las Vegas, everybody.